Hi, and welcome to Hashtag Dep Talk. I'm Deborah, and Hashtag Dep Talk is an informal mentoring space where you can come and find guidance, advice, insights that will help you navigate the workplace. Today, we're going to be talking about politics. Now, politics has always been a sticky subject, but in the last few years, it's become explosive, divisive, volatile, all of those adjectives. There are people that you may have in your life or people that you know about where if someone didn't share the same political ideas as they have, that they will actually cuss the person out in person or cuss them out online. There have been times when folks have been even cut off, meaning that the person just didn't want to be friends with them anymore, both in person and online. As usual, a lot of the things that play out in the public also play out at work. You know what I'm talking about when you have downtime at work and folks start talking about all kinds of stuff. Sometimes it's silly stuff like, is your preference Dunkin' Donuts or is it Krispy Kreme? Sometimes folks will talk about celebrities, sports, relationships, stuff that their family's doing. And sometimes the topic of politics does come up. So when the topic of politics comes up, the question is it a good idea for you to share your political opinions and what you like or don't like about the political parties or the different candidates or not? What I want to do today is share with you some thoughts, 3 things that you should consider before sharing your opinion. The first thing is the work environment or culture. The second is the context of the conversation. Is it public or is it private? And what is the purpose of the conversation? In terms of the work environment, it's always important for you to understand where you're working. It's always important for you to observe the culture of your organization, because if you do that, that's going to help inform how you navigate and how you behave in an organization. With reference to this topic, how do leaders, from your observation, how do they disagree in your organization? How do people in general disagree? Do you find that folks agree to disagree and they do so in a respectful manner? Or do you find that when folks disagree that they end up in an argument, maybe tearing each other down, and basically it dissolves into insults? And I want you to know insults aren't just curse words or profanity. Insults can be given in perfect English. How do folks interact and how do they disagree? A second thing to consider is in your particular workplace, and this may also depend on your geography, your geographical location in the United States, do you find that there is a large amount of one political party in the office and then a small minority of the other? And do you find that folks stick with each other? Do you find that folks exclude or are spiteful when it comes down to someone that doesn't share their particular opinion? Or is it the opposite? If you find that you're working in an environment that folks don't disagree well, and if you find that folks are excluding folks based on the fact that they don't share their political opinion, you have to ask yourself, is this the right place and the right time for me to share my particular thoughts on a political party or on a particular candidate? The second thing you have to consider is, what's the context of the conversation? Is it a public conversation? Or is it a private conversation? Because there's certainly 2 very different scenarios. If it's a public conversation, I want you to keep some things in mind. If it's public, then there are people, a diverse number of people who are listening. And diversity is great. That's one of the things that make the workplace fantastic. It's one of the things that help us come up with great solutions, because we have people from all kinds of backgrounds and also folks from different mindsets. The folks that are listening may have different levels, different titles, different levels of authority and impact on your particular role. So keep that in mind. The other thing is that these folks may have different mindsets. There's one particular person that their thing might be, I don't really care what your political affiliation is. I don't care who you support or don't support. What I care about is, do you perform well in your role? Are you a great representation of our company? Do you represent our brand well? Are you a great team player? Do you work hard and go above and beyond? Those are the things that really matter to me, not your political affiliation or who you like or don't like. But then you have another person and their thing might be, I'm very passionate about my political party and I feel like if you don't hold those same opinions, then we're really not on the same page. Now, it's not that I'm not going to do my job, but I'm kind of going to hold you at arm's length. And it's a bit challenging if you're trying to get buy-in from a person on a project that you're working on and they're holding you at arm's length. The bottom line is you're working in a diverse environment and people have different opinions and they have different mindsets. And so if the conversation is taking place publicly, be aware that different people who have different impacts on your role and have different mindsets are listening. Is it a private conversation? If that's the case, then one of the things you want to consider is, who is this person that I'm speaking with? Is it a mature person who can agree to disagree and it not end up in an argument because I don't share the same ideas that they have? The other thing is this person a trustworthy person, particularly if you don't want your business out in Joe Public? And this idea of someone being trustworthy can't just be based on, I feel like I could trust them. It has to be someone perhaps that you've walked with for some time. You've had a relationship with them in terms of just time invested, and they've proven themselves to be someone who has discretion and who is faithful and who is honest and who wouldn't gossip and put your business out there. But even with all of that said, there is something that I have to state here as a caveat. If you don't want something out there and you don't want people to know a particular thing, the safest place for it to be is for it to remain in your mind. And the third thing that you should consider is, what's the purpose of the conversation? Is this even worth your time? Are folks just shooting the breeze? Are they venting? Are they just putting their frustrations out there? Or are you speaking with someone who wants to know what types of topics are important to you? What are the issues that mean something to you? Why do you think the way that you do? They're trying to really understand what's the purpose of the conversation. And again, the thing is ensuring that you trust the person that you're speaking with, that they're not going to twist what you say and that they're going to honor the fact that you want this conversation to remain private if that's the case. Let's bring this all together. So again, I'm not stating that you should or that you shouldn't. I think it's a decision that you have to make. But as you navigate the workplace, it's important for you to, number one, understand the environment that you're in. Be observant and look around you and see how the folks in your organization operate. The other thing is, weigh the context of the conversation. Is it a public conversation or is it a private conversation? If it's public, then there are lots of people that are listening that can have an impact on your role based on their titles, their levels, and their mindsets. And consider the purpose of the conversation. Is it just to shoot the breeze? Or is the person really trying to understand what makes you tick? Weigh all of those things as you make the decision about whether or not you want to discuss politics at work. I hope you found this content to be helpful. And if you did, please like it, please share it, please subscribe. And most importantly, I'd love to hear your comments about what you think about this topic. And if you think it should be shared and how and why and what, all that good stuff. Until next time. Have a wonderful work week.